What is up? It's a Fit Gear Hunter, and this is going to be a brief video simply doing a review for the Garmin 22mm Quickfit Chestnut Leather Band and the Garmin 26mm Quickfit Tactical Black Nylon Band. So if you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. So these, in my opinion, have always been viewed by me as the cream of the crop, like the mythical, like, oh, I wish I had one of those $150 or $130 specialty Garmin custom bands. And over the last couple of months, I've actually gotten some of these from purchasing just different watches on eBay and using those watches for reviews and then selling the watches and keeping the bands. The Chestnut Leather is the type of band you would think it's just the dream band because it's like true, thick, genuine leather, made by Garmin, $150. It would work with the 955, the 255, the Phoenix 7, and the Epics, obviously. And then the 26mm Quickfit Tactical Black Nylon Band. So made for the rugged outdoors, for the Garmin Tactics 7, and obviously for the Phoenix 7X with that 26mm lug to lug. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at it hands-on. We're going to look at it versus alternatives, whether it's in a nylon component or in a leather or fake leather, pleather type aspect, and we're going to look at it on the wrist and then talk about it in detail. So with that, let's dive in. All right, so here they are all side by side. So this is the box that came, the Quickfit 26mm Tactical Black Nylon, so the official Garmin box that it came with, and this is the tactical band, and then this is the leather band. So we're going to look at this one at a time and compare it to a couple of alternatives. So we're going to slide all this out of the way for now. And then we're going to look at what a typical band would look like. So this is a typical rubber band. So a typical 26mm. Look at how nice and flappy that is. And if you look at the leather, it doesn't have any flap to this section. Now this is leather on leather. So let's do that real quick. We'll look at these closely. So they look really great. Now these are broken in because I bought them from an eBay seller that had already put them to use. So this is, if you also want to know what it looks like used, Garmin insignia there, as well as something written up there, genuine something, Italian leather. Oh, really fancy. So chestnut leather, it's a really cool look to it. And so we're going to look at, basically how it compares. If you just do some basic functional sort of feeling, then we'll look at it on the wrist to see. So this is regular rubber. Look how nice and flappy. And then if we change that out and we put on the other band, and then you try to move it around, it doesn't have any move. It doesn't move at all. You try to flap that, it doesn't really flap. I mean, maybe this flaps right where the crease was, but it is thick. I mean, you can look at it. If you look at it from a measuring side, 5.3 millimeters thick on the sides. That, I don't know why it's 4.3 there. Maybe I just measured an extra thick part. 4.9. So like 5 millimeters thick across the board. And let's take a look at how it looks on my wrist. The first thing you find is you can't quite get it over this hump because it's so rigid the further it gets up. You can't quite, you have to just like do this thing where you force your thumb on it to get it into the loop that might work. And then you have it, and it works. I mean, it functionally works. It just feels very different. So this is what it looks like on my 176mm wrist with a 955. So the 22mm works fine with the 955. 955 has regular springs. You just pop the springs on the fixed rutch band. You can put the spring back in and use it like a quick fit. So what I'm feeling is pressure here on both sides. So as I turn my wrist, I feel like something's squeezing it on both sides versus what could be an alternative off of Amazon, this guy. So it's rubber base with a faux leather top. It does, I mean, it's got, I guess, some rigidity to it. Let's see it switched up. First thing you notice is you can actually just easily get up to the place you want to get on that. And you slide it in and boom, there you go. No, so does it look as good? No. Is it functional? It's kind of the same. I mean, these extra thick that are thick in through here feel somewhat the same, but this just feels more comfortable because it's latex on the inside. Now, over time, the latex won't have any give to it, but the exterior faux leather might have some flexibility to it. But this is $17. This is a $17 Aberdeen or Aberline loop, and that's the comparable comparison. If you really want a leather look, don't want to pay the extra, and it's going to feel slightly more comfortable than the full genuine Italian leather, this would be your option. I'll put a little link down below. It's actually, I mean, if you look at that, just, yeah, I guess about the same. So that is option number one for that. So now let's look at the nylon strap that comes, the tactical nylon. So the first, it just has these stainless steel lugs. At least it's bound to be stainless steel because it's heavy. Quick fit. You know, everything obviously when Garmin does it on the quick fit side, it's got long-term durability. But this is full metal lugs, and this is thick nylon. I mean, this again, if you try to move that, you don't get any floppiness. Try to move this, you don't get any floppiness. Versus if you were to look at a traditional, this is another nylon band. This is just like a generic, you know, like a alternative to an enduro band, and no flap. I mean, it doesn't flap at all. This is very flappy. And so this is my favorite. This is the Aberdeen loop, which goes through one side, only has one adjustment area. So basically you're pulling it up here and then you're adjusting it all the way around. But let's take it off and try so again, we do the flex test, hold this, and you flex it around. You know, it's got zero give, zero move. This has good, slight flex to it, but just comfort around the wrist. And then let's switch it out. Okay, so this is how it looks on there. I mean, it looks tough. This looks like you're ready to go to war, Call of Duty, bring it on. This is how it looks when it's just sort of fully around, you know, those all metal things. But the problem comes in actual usage, because it actually takes pressure for me to push two sides together, and it has no flex. It is as thick as can be. It's like they inlaid molten lava in between the two nylon straps, because obviously this is one nylon piece come back to one nylon piece. And I don't know who this would be for. Like, it's just so rigid. I don't know even that nylon's going to break down. And again, the same problem comes because you can't quite get it through because it's so stiff. And then you get it through, good Lord, you can't even slide it in the crevice. So there it is. So fine. That's how it looks. Looks very rugged. It definitely feels a felt bit different. So it is a rigid, stiff sort of feeling versus a regular sort of aftermarket generic nylon band. But you know, it does work. It feels better than the leather that I was testing on the 22mm side. But it does feel like, again, it's not hugging, it's like pushing on both sides because it's got such rigidity through the fabric itself. And then if you obviously were to compare it to, you know, one of the latex bands, this is the band that came with the Phoenix 7X, the traditional Garmin band, you're going to get, you know, tons and tons and tons of flexibility because this is a latex band. But take a look for yourself, what you like, what you think, and judge for yourself. But it just is incredibly stiff. So what do I think of the 22mm Quickfit Chestnut Leather, the 26mm Tactical Black Nylon? I think neither one are worth $130 or $150 at all, because to me, they are not comfortable. Maybe you have the world's most grizzly bear wrist that can handle the triple thick leather that won't bend or give or flex around your wrist, or the most tough wrist that can handle the ultra thick nylon that feels like a Brillo pad on your wrist. But for me, I don't think, I'm glad and I'm so thankful to have gotten to test both the true genuine leather as well as the tactical nylon, to be able to share with the world that what you may have been, you know, dreaming of or aspiring to have one day is probably not worth the price for you. So with that, it's the Figure Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.